Easy plus daily plus a funny plus a system. My name is Bai Mu, and due to an accident, I accidentally became girl, that's right. Of course I know this is very surreal, but it's true. What wealthy young lady actually likes me? You just talk nonsense, how could it be? What? She said she wants to take care of me and make me her doll. No, 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 being a person has dignity. Of course, I won't refuse. Chapter 1. Departure. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Zhongchuan Jiangqing Bai Mu was still immersed in a dream. He had a very strange dream, in which words flickered above his head and a beautiful woman stood in front of him, with a slender figure and perfect proportions. The girl said to Bai Mu, "Thank you for helping me. Now your reward is randomly changing on your head. As long as you clap your hand, you can pause. The text that stops is your reward." Bai Mu was delighted to hear this. I am familiar with it. I watch videos every day, so it's not impossible for me to change the length of the cow's head or something. Pa. Bai Mu patted her small hand and looked at the reward that had stopped, which immediately stunned her. No, what kind of ghost is it to become a beautiful girl? Congratulations on obtaining the reward qualification to become a beautiful girl. After speaking, the girl disappeared from Bai Mu's sight with a mischievous smile on her face, leaving only Bai Mu with a bewildered expression on her face. Hey, can you change it? I don't want to become a beautiful girl. Sigh. Bai Mu slowly opened her eyes. Was it just a dream? This is just bullshit. How could anyone become a girl as soon as they wake up? She lifted the blanket and walked into the bathroom in a daze. She opened the toilet, ready to take out a gun and drain water. After touching for a while, I realized something was wrong. Where did it go? Why are they all flat? Where is my big baby? Can't it really be gone? Bai Mu lowered her head and looked at her eyes, which widened twice as much. Isn't it really gone? Looking at the flat area below me, where the figure of the big baby was no longer visible, I suddenly felt like crying without tears. Woo, what are you doing? Oh, I have been with myself for many years, but I haven't had any pleasure yet. Big baby, I'm sorry for you. Woo. Bai Mu walked up to the mirror and couldn't help but be amazed by the beauty of the girl in the mirror. She said, I'm sorry, it's okay. I've already thrown it into the trash can. It's so beautiful, it's not worth it. Under the long eyelashes of the girl in the mirror lies an ice crystal-like eye, shining like a treasure. Under her delicate nose, she has a cherry-shaped mouth. Due to waking up just now, a few strands of green hair are still sticking to her pink face. Just like a cute porcelain doll, it makes people feel protective at a glance, and explodes at a second glance. This is the true beauty of closing the moon and blushing flowers, sinking fish and falling geese. The girl has a gentle and elegant temperament, and looks easy to bully. Oh no, it's easy to get along with. Bai Mu thought this way and unconsciously reached out to pinch her own face. Why does it hurt so much? Why is this body so delicate? The girl's eyes flickered with tears, looking very pitiful. Oh, no, I can't do it anymore. Why is it so cute? My teenage heart is about to explode. Who doesn't like soft girls who are delicate, weak, and easily pushed down? Of course, Bai Mu seems to have realized something and is starting to change her mind, because this delicate and weak girl who is easily pushed down is her own QWQ. It's over. I still have to go back to the dormitory to pick up things today. If a few good buddies in the dormitory see this, it's not over. After a moment of contemplation, a sudden urge to urinate interrupted Bai Mu's thoughts. Should I come or should I come? Bai Mu slowly took off her weight and sat on the toilet. After a while, the sound of water flowing in the toilet sounded, and by the time the door opened, Bai Mu had already turned red. What a novel feeling. This is a small rental house rented by Bai Mu outside, and she is the only one living there. She doesn't really like living in school dormitories, mainly because her roommate Shabi typing on the keyboard every night and yelling, Big Shabi, 6. Enter the factory, brother. In contrast, my own small rental house is quiet and comfortable, located in the center of Jiangqing. If you have nothing to do, you can also enjoy the bustling night view of Jiangqing, but there is still something left in the dormitory and I have to go back to pick it up in the afternoon. What should I do when I go back like this? Bai Mu is very distressed. What if that talent has a wild nature? This small and cute self will be ruined by playing with it, right? No, I haven't studied it myself yet. How could I give it to someone else at a cheaper price? It's already 11 noon and it's time to prepare for departure. The school is still a short distance from the city center. Bai Mu opened the wardrobe, dug out the clothes she had previously worn in a smaller size, put them on, and walked to the mirror to tidy them up. Sure enough, as long as a person is cute, no matter what clothes they wear, they are perfect. Bai Mu looked at her cherry mouth in the mirror and couldn't help but smile, revealing a pair of cute little tiger teeth that were very charming. Before going out, put on a mask, hat, eyes, etc. Today, unless it's yourself, no one else will recognize her as Bai Mu. Okay, actually, I shouldn't be able to recognize it without wearing it. Bai Mu called Didi for a taxi and soon arrived at the school gate. Jiangqing University. Bai Mu got off the car and walked towards the campus. It has to be said that Jiangqing's appearance is quite good. The shade of trees on campus in mid-spring covers up a lot of heat, especially some young ladies on campus who dress really generously, with black silk long legs that are hard to resist, wearing a hat, sunglasses, mask, and cotton jacket. Bai Mu looked out of place with everyone. Is this a seasonal person? Of course it is. At this point, Bai Mu was already sweating profusely. If it weren't for covering up the damn rabbit in front of her chest and making such a fuss. But it's also okay. Bai Mu arrived at the bottom of the boys' dormitory building. Jiangqing University is still very humane. In order to make it less tiring for her students to leave the campus, the dormitory building was built very close to the entrance. 403. 404 has arrived. Dong dong dong. Bai Mu knocked on the door. After a while, someone opened the door and Wang Peng, who was only poking his head out, ignored it and wanted to enter. Alas, who are you? Your father doesn't even know him anymore. Bai Mu deliberately lowered his voice. Looking at the little one who is half a head shorter than himself is also very confused. Where does anyone come up and take advantage of themselves? But I guess I can't help but guess from that familiar and demonic voice, Bai Mu. Otherwise. Isn't it your voice? Ha 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 ha. He only realized today that Bai Mu was so short. Bai Mu pushed open the door and watched as her beloved brother, whom she had been longing for all day, mocked her for being short and quietly wiped away tears in her heart. I need you to take care of me. They think about you guys every day and every night, but I didn't expect you guys to treat me. I'm really heartless. You got it, ha ha ha, and your voice. Hurry up and take away your broken notebooks. I'm tired of reading them all. Hearing Wang Peng's sly laughter at the door, others also leaned their dog heads over. When they saw that Bai Mu was half a head shorter than themselves, they were also very confused, but when they heard her duck voice, they didn't tense it up either. I've sorted everything out for you, just move it out. He Qing pointed to an empty bed. And did you eat razor blades? Bai Mu compared his middle finger to He Qing, then ignored everyone and went to move the box. She was a little touched that her intellectually disabled roommate would actually help her pack things. Oh, I've grown up. She opened the box and looked at the small notebook she had been longing for, which she also intended to give to everyone. Oh, I'll give it to you. Aren't you guys fond of watching? Ha ha ha, okay, just leave there. Hurry up and leave, or I'll be laughed to death by you. Ha ha ha. Wang Peng had already fallen to the ground, covering his stomach, and almost didn't catch his breath. His feet landed on the ground. Bai Mu's face turned black, but due to wearing a mask and sunglasses, everyone did not see her now. She just wants to move the box away and evacuate the scene. If they continue to laugh like this, she may not know if she will hit someone. He Bai Mu put in a lot of effort and found that the box was only lifted a little bit. The scene was once very awkward. Ha 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 ha. What's wrong with you? Has COVID-19 relapsed? Bai Mu can't stand it anymore. Isn't this body with a pretty face and no strength at all? If I see that damn fairy in my dream again, I will definitely beat her up hard. Why are you laughing? Come and help me if you don't want to. I'll do it, I'll do it. Wang Peng got up from the ground and walked over to Bai Mu, lifting the box. The two of them walked out of the dormitory building like this. Oh, what's wrong with you? Are you really sick? It's none of your business, however, ha ha ha. Your duckling's voice is quite funny, ha ha ha. Hurry up, Didi is coming over soon. Not long after, Wang Peng put his things into the trunk and bid farewell to Bai Mu. If you have something to do, please contact me on your phone. If you don't come and kill me, I'll come back to eat. Bai Mu also smiled. Jokes aside, Wang Peng is quite down to earth. After Bai Mu left, Wang Peng furrowed his brow slightly. Bai Mu was a bit strange today. Why did he feel like his mother had changed a lot? Chapter 2. Dog System. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. More than 10 minutes later, Bai Mu returned to the small apartment and took off her heavy cotton jacket. The T-shirt inside was already completely soaked. The clothes are close to the skin, and the snow-white skin is indistinct, especially the two pairs of big rabbits on the chest called Bai Mu Na blush. So big, it looks like it also has a C-cup shape, right? She sniffed with the tip of her nose, and the body fragrance emanating from the girl was very pleasant, like the blooming late cherry blossoms in spring, elegant and charming. Perhaps it's because I became a girl, and the sweat-soaked body feels very uncomfortable at this moment. An evil idea sprouted in Bai Mu's mind. Take a shower, that's right. Take a shower, hee. When Bai Mu thought about the slender and perfect figure of the girl under her stunning beauty, she couldn't hold her tension anymore. If her little brother were still there, she would probably have been excited and set up a small tent if we could come from behind. No, 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 what am I thinking? This is me. Why, what kind of ghost am I? Bai Mu patted her face, then walked into the room and casually picked up a few pieces of clothing before entering the bathroom. The girl admires herself in the mirror, touching his own neck. His Adam's apple had indeed disappeared. Looking at his beauty, which was like a fairy walking out of poetry, calligraphy, and painting, he was once again amazed. In the morning, he didn't have time to take a closer look. At this moment, he realized that the girl's pink cheeks were not even visible, and her skin was fair and fair, blowing bullets can break through, with bright eyes shining brightly, exquisite and divine. It can't help but evoke pity and a desire for protection. The face shape is neither round nor long. The standard melon seed face, exquisite facial features, and perfect face shape make it look very cute. Bai Mu couldn't help but act cute in front of the mirror. She pouted her cherry lips and slowly approached the girl in the mirror, giving her a big kiss. I have no choice but to be so cute. How could there be such a beautiful girl in the world? Bai Mu also smiled at the lip prints left on the mirror. Perhaps it's not a bad thing to become like this. It can also be considered a kind of redemption. Curious and strange, forget it. Let's take a shower now. Bai Mu opens the shower and allows the water spray to flow on her crystal clear skin, appearing exceptionally white and pink under the water spray. The graceful and curvy body appears particularly stylish through atomized glass. In a comfortable and relaxed environment, the soft humming of a young girl can be heard from time to time. Do you want to wash it here? Let's take a wash. Of course she knows the importance of girls. Bai Mu Jiao's body trembled. Didn't she just scream out for a reason? Is it so sensitive? Fortunately, I live alone at home. If there are others, I wouldn't want to die in society. A few minutes later, Bai Mu changed into clean clothes and walked out of the bathroom, then lay down on the sofa and started to be a salted fish. When Bai Mu was taking a shower, the school group had already exploded and froze. Director Shabi. Tomorrow, the school will hold a 3-day spring outing in Nanxiang, Huizhou. We will arrange accommodation for everyone in the evening. Interested parties are welcome to sign up. Wang Peng. Attend He Qing. Attend Zhang Yida. Attend. Suddenly, a notification pops up above the screen. Wang Peng. Let's go play together. Bai Mu thought for a moment and agreed. She happened to be going out to relax. Is she constantly smoking car exhaust in Jiangcheng? Then round and cute nails danced rapidly on the keyboard by Mu. Alright, okay Wong Peng. Alright, since you need accommodation, do you need to prepare to change clothes? Do I have to carry a backpack? But since I've become a girl, why doesn't I have a system? Bai Mu tried to call the system in her heart, imagining herself in a web novel system. System. Please enter password. Suddenly, a beautiful female voice rang out in my mind. There really is. Password. How come there is still a password? Bai Mu tentatively said a few numbers. 50.4180.8 password error. 14,520.4 password error. 114,514 password error. It's not that your system requires password activation. What kind of thing? When someone wakes up and activates it successfully, they don't see anyone who needs a password after a long time. Bai Mu made a very foolish decision. To ask Dunyan. What is the activation system password? Click to search what is the activation system password. Generally speaking, the activation system password is this and that. Generally speaking, it means asking experts what is the activation system password. It only requires 9.9 soft coins, and everything can be answered. Bai Mu was dumbfounded and continued to scroll down. Finally, she found a more reliable answer. The activation system password is usually the initial password 1234-1230.4. It's not bad that it's Dunyang, it's still wrong. It's not that this thing didn't make sense when it first appeared, but now I need a password. Where can I get it? I'm so angry, Just as Bai Mu was about to go crazy, a burst of laughter came to her mind. Ha ha ha, stupid host. Bai Mu realized that she had been tricked, and at this moment, losing the emotional buff of her younger brother's grief and anger completely exploded. Humph! The girl wrapped her hands around her chest and turned her proud little face around to take a glance. All I think in my heart is that I will never talk to you again. Half a moment later, Bai Mu realized that her behavior just now was not very similar to that of a young girl. She was a pure man. How could she do such a thing? Good host, as long as you complete the task well, this system will buy you candy to eat. Damn system, who wants your sugar? If you don't complete the task well, there will be punishment. I'm not afraid of punishment. The girl sitting alone in front of the sofa with a varied expression may seem a bit eerie. Host, you don't want the world to know about yourself becoming a girl, do you? The familiar lines rang out in the system's mouth, making the atmosphere somewhat subtle. Of course, Bai Mu has heard this line before. If she admits it, will she be the next step? If you don't admit it, wouldn't it be very socially dead? Maybe you'll be caught and sliced for research. After a long time, I still answered. Of course not. Bai Mu had already closed her eyes and put on a domineering look, but the next scene did not appear. That's it, for the sake of the host's obedience, reward a beginner gift pack. Congratulations on receiving. Ultra short jeans, white t-shirt, white chubby pants, white underwear. As soon as she finished speaking, clothes appeared out of thin air on the sofa next to her. Bai Mu picked up the white plump pussy and observed it left and right. This was her first time picking up a girl's plump pussy. As long as the host task is done well, anything can be achieved. Anything can be achieved. Can you turn me back into a boy? Of course it's possible, as long as you reach the required points, you can achieve it. After speaking, a panel appeared in front of Bai Mu's eyes. Name. Bai Mu. Gender. Female, locked, height. 165 centimeters, locked, physical condition. Delicate and weak intelligence. 6/10, appearance value. 85/no upper limit points. 0 overall evaluation. B. What does gender lock mean when it's not a dog system? The meaning is that it cannot be changed anymore. Didn't you say you could bring me back? ABA. I was also very helpless when I heard that the system was pretending to be silly. There were 10 systems and 9 pitfalls, and I had already cried and fainted on the sofa. Chapter 3. Encountering the remaining life. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Perhaps the excitement of the spring outing prompted Bai Mu to wake up early and tidy up her things this time. Bai Mu didn't wear a heavy cotton jacket. If she wore it again, she would really be a fool. She looked at the simple suit jacket in front of the mirror and felt relieved when she confirmed that she couldn't see the two big rabbits. The only thing that troubles me is my hair. Because Bai Mu doesn't know how to comb her hair, it looks messy overall and can be used as a chicken coop to hatch chicks. Dog system, can you make my hair shorter? How can I go out like this? What's your name in the early morning? There's a panel for you to watch, and this system still needs to sleep, so the system also needs to sleep. Shouldn't the system be an artificial intelligence that is available 24 hours a day? Open panel. There is a small button on the far right of the attribute parameters for modifying hairstyles. Bai Mu scanned around and found that the shortest one was also on her shoulder. The dog feeding system, why is it the shortest or so long? Seeing that the system didn't respond, Bai Mu didn't plan to worry anymore. It was better than the original one. Who would say that someone is a gentle, kind, and considerate host? If a few brothers ask about raising hair, they think it's very cool. A simple taste in front of the mirror is also a way out. The mist of spring dawn began to slowly dissipate, and the morning dew hung on the flowers, shining like a gemstone under the sunlight. At 6 o'clock in the morning, the streets of Jiangcheng were already bustling with traffic, and the streets and alleys were filled with the smell of human fireworks. The small vendors on the roadside had already begun to shout, and the streets were filled with the fragrance of various breakfast, which was very tempting. Soon, Bai Mu arrived at the designated location, and when she saw the brothers, she cleared her throat and went up to greet them. Come so early? Yo, Donald Duck is here. Why has his voice improved? Wang Peng and He Qing were slightly surprised as they looked at Bai Mu's long hair. Does this guy have a lot of potential for women's clothing, especially his face? How does it feel? Like he has looked a bit better lately. After a brief conversation, Bai Mu got on the bus and found a seat at the back. She held her chin with one hand and looked at one or two couples on the playground. At this moment, many were showing off their love. Bai Mu was very envious. She had been around for almost 2 years and was still a single dog, especially now that she has been confiscated. Her younger brother suddenly changed from above to below. Damn it. In her thoughts, Bai Mu felt someone sitting next to her and was about to turn her head to drive away, but a pretty face came straight into her face. Is it okay for me to sit here, classmate? When the other party got in the car, they found that it was already full of people, but the girl had some available seats around her and sat over. It seemed like she was getting too close, and Lu Jinqing also felt a bit embarrassed. After all, the other person looked cold, and no one around such a beautiful girl dared to approach her, making it difficult to get along with her. Of course, not a problem. Bai Mu was also surprised to see the other party's prosperous appearance, almost catching up with her. The other party also has an flawless face, with beautiful features and a classical beauty aura. If they are ranked first, then the other party thinks they can be ranked second. Besides, who would refuse to have such a big sister next to her who doesn't indulge in worldly pleasures, unless the other person is bent upon hearing the other party's agreement? Lu Jinqing also smiled and looked at Bai Mu, who looked like a porcelain doll, with eager eyes. Suddenly, a feeling of wanting to take it for herself sprouted in her heart, but she quickly dispelled it. Hello classmates, let's get to know each other. My surname is Lu, my name is Jinqing, Lu Jinqing. Seeing the other person's sunny smile, Bai Mu also responded, but this was the first time she had been so close to a girl, and her fair cheeks began to blush slightly. Hello, my name is Bai Mu. Bai Mu, what a beautiful name. Thank you. The atmosphere fell into silence, and Bai Mu thought about chatting to break the tranquility. However, she didn't expect the other party to take the initiative. What skincare products do you usually use to maintain your skin so well? Can you recommend them? Bai Mu was dumbfounded when she heard this. She didn't know any skincare products. Should she tell the other person that she had a system? Of course not. After a long time, Bai Mu finally said a very impolite sentence, I was born with it. Lu Jinqing did not respond to the other party's answer anymore, but her expression was erratic. Looking at the fairy-like face of the other party, she was smiling at herself at the moment, and her heart was almost melted. This was too cute, right? What should she do if she wanted to take her home? What if the other party doesn't want to do? It's embarrassing to scold oneself for being abnormal. Bai Mu couldn't see the small details in her heart. She didn't know how to read her mind, she just looked at the other person in confusion, but when her eyes collided, Bai Mu still shyly avoided them. Lu Jinqing's evasive gaze at the other person also made her like it more and more. It was like a kitten, making people couldn't help but touch it. Can we add a WeChat account for that? Bai Mu smiled awkwardly as she looked at the apple that the other party was reaching out for. I don't use apples, I can't touch them. It's okay. Lu Jinqing opened the WeChat QR code to signal Bai Mu to scan the code. After adding it, she also scanned the other person's social circle, but was surprised to find that the little girl next to her didn't take any selfies, only game records and landscape photos. She was a bit disappointed. If she hadn't seen herself, she would have thought it was some guy's WeChat account. On the contrary, Lu Jinqing's social circle is all about selfie entertainment. After a simple scan, she found that the other person seems to be quite wealthy, and the places she dresses up and attends are all very luxurious, which doesn't seem like places that ordinary people can afford to go to. Still a wealthy older sister. The vehicle slowly moved and had already left the Jiangcheng. The scenery along the road was replaced by towering skyscrapers and lush greenery. From time to time, one or two households could be seen in the green forests and bamboo groves. The river galloping at the foot of the road was clear and clear, with heavy scales racing and leaping. At this point, the tour guide also began to talk about the location of the trip. So the place we are visiting this time is Nanxiang, Huizhou. Nanxiang is located in the southern part of Huizhou and has a long history. It is known for its 5 wonders of strange pines, strange rocks, sea of clouds, hot springs, and winter snow, as well as its historical relics, calligraphy and painting, literature, legends, and famous figures. It is known as the #1 wonderful mountain in the world, Tiankai painting, and Pine Sea and Cloud River. The first scenic spot we visited was the Peach Blossom Forest, which is now in April, and the peak of Peach Blossom. You can tell from the fluent speech that the tour guide is skilled, but Lu Jinqing beside her didn't listen to a word and was all thinking about how to take Bai Mu home. As the saying goes, if you want to capture a person's heart, you must first capture their stomach. Of course, this requires inviting the other party to your own home, which is difficult to do. You need to consider your own strengths, which is that you look good. Very wealthy. A good family background. Indeed, Lu Jinqing did not think of a lie. The Lu family is also very famous in Jiangcheng, especially the Lu Group, which has driven the local GDP. As an important economic powerhouse in China, it can now enter the Fortune Global 500, that's right, you have money. You need to first inquire about the other person's family background. If it's average, it will be much easier to deal with. Bai Mu, where is your hometown? Bai Mu was surprised that the other party remembered her name, and it didn't seem difficult to remember either. My hometown is in Qingzhou County, which is a bit close to Jiangcheng. Upon hearing this, Lu Jinqing was overjoyed. Isn't that exactly what I wanted? Living in a small county town would make it easier for me to take over this little bit. Watching Lu Jinqing smirk and Bai Mu feel confused, how could she feel a bad premonition? How could this woman feel like she's thinking about something bad? Chapter 4. Fireworks. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After a while, the bus slowly stopped and the tourists gradually got off the bus. Amidst the lush greenery of the mountains, there is a hint of red glow, like a dreamy sunset telling the story of the magnificent scenery of the world. Only the peach blossoms are pink and tempting, with a pure appearance that carries some charm. Bai Mu got off the car and breathed in fresh air, suffocating in the car. She was also scrutinized by the big sister next to her for a whole car. It's too terrifying. The other party wouldn't be a fraud from Mianbei, right? She knows her appearance and must have been targeting her before turning herself there to do some unknown things. No, it's too scary. Hurry up and leave to avoid being further entangled by the other party. Lu Jinqing felt a bit strange as she watched the little one next to her get off the car and then run away without a trace. She originally wanted to play together to add a touch of emotion to both parties, but the other seemed to be very resistant to me. Running to a distance from the bus, Bai Mu also breathed a sigh of relief. Are all the scam gangs so beautiful? She regrets telling the other party the name of her hometown. In case she finds her parents. It seems like I can't find my parents, and I don't even know that my son has become a daughter. Ding, a new mission has been released, requiring the host to wear tang costumes and play the flute in the peach blossom forest within 1 hour. Successful mission rewards 10 attribute points, but failed. Revealed by family and good brothers, the host went to Thailand for surgery. After speaking, a bag appeared in front of Bai Mu out of thin air, and she quickly caught it and opened it to take a look. Pink Hanfu, a flute. Wow, dog system. Why are you like this? You're too tough. Besides, I can't play the flute. What kind of dog system? If you talk about this system, you'll get angry. Leave this sentence behind. No matter how Bai Mu calls the system, the other party will not agree. He has a pretty big temper, and the only thing that troubles Bai Mu is the punishment for failure. When he got on the car, he had surgery with Wang Peng and He Qin pointing at him and laughing, while others looked at him with strange eyes. TSK 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 TSK. Just as Bai Mu was distressed, someone suddenly patted her shoulder and turned around to see that it was Lu Jinqing. How did she find this place? In fact, when Lu Jinqing went on a spring outing, she even had a few bodyguards with her. Even a little ant could help you find them on the phone. Bai Mu was startled and shouted, "Don't catch me and go to Mianbei, woo-woo." What Cotton North? Lu Jinqing raised her eyebrows and said, "Wow, the other party is treating her as a scammer." Of course, she is not in a hurry to prove her innocence, but instead cooperates with Bai Mu to continue playing. Be quiet, be careful if you make any small moves. I'll execute the law on the spot and knock you unconscious, she said as she took off a hairpin from her head and pressed it against Bai Mu's slender waist. Bai Mu was scared and confused. Why did she just take the knife? At this point, her brain started to crash. After that, she was completely ruined. What should she do? Is there any way to escape the danger? To the system. Help me with the system, sobbing. I shouldn't have called you a puppy. I didn't hear any response from the system, and Bai Mu's heart was half cold. Suddenly, I thought of the female self-defense technique I saw while surfing the internet. It's like twisting and turning, then kicking the other person again and getting kicked. That's right, that's it. Lu Jinqing felt a little flustered as she watched the other person stand still. Could it be that she had played too much and scared the other person silly? Just as they were about to let go, the other person suddenly twisted their body. Lu Jinqing quickly hugged them, and their upturned noses collided like this. Both sides felt each other's breathing, and the temperature increased at a visible speed to the naked eye. The height difference between the two is not significant. Bai Mu felt a strange feeling as she looked at the bright and lively eyes under the girl's long eyelashes. I want to kiss you. A gust of wind blew, playing with the beautiful black hair of the young girl, floating like a fairy at this moment, sacred and charming. The faces of those who do not indulge in worldly pleasures blushed slightly, and both sides looked at each other like this. As time seemed to freeze at this moment, there was a stalemate for 3 seconds, and Lu Jinqing blushed and let go of her hand, recalling the soft touch and body fragrance of the young girl's slender waist that couldn't calm down for a long time. Bai Mu looked at the other person's blushing face as if it were a rosy glow on the horizon. Is it like this when deceiving people to go to Mianbei? The impact just now on Bai Mu, a pure virgin, was really too strong. I'm sorry. Lu Jinqing realized that she had done too much earlier and apologized. Listening to the soft and coquettish voice of the other person, Bai Mu has no resistance at all. She has a special skill that can be roughly guessed by a girl's behavior in junior high school. There was a girl in her class who looked very average but used makeup to cover herself up every day. As a result, she had a white face and a black neck, and her behavior was rude and unreasonable. She was completely devoted to admiring the big brothers in society, especially with that eye. Bai Mu often sneered and laughed like Pai Yanzi at that time. However, this happened many years ago, and the girl in front of her did not give herself a very hypocritical feeling, or did she look like a fraudster? Did I blame her wrong? Ah. It's okay. She was surprised that the other party would apologize, and her suspicion became even shallower in her heart. Do you want to wear Tang costumes? Do you want me to help you? Lu Jinqing saw the clothes on the other person's hand and wanted to redeem for the unreasonable act just now. Bai Mugong wanted to refuse, but as soon as she thought that she, a fake girl, wouldn't be able to dress, she urgently needed someone to help and agreed. Okay. As soon as she heard the other party agree, Lu Jinqing's face lit up with a smile again. The two of them found an empty corner and started changing clothes. Take off your coat. What do you want? Can I help you change your clothes? What else can I do? Lu Jinqing hung up a mischievous smile, not realizing that this little girl was pure and innocent. There was a rustling heart hidden beneath my appearance. Bai Mu saw that she had said the wrong thing and began to defend herself. What are you thinking? There's nothing like that. So what? After hearing Bai Mu's words, Lu Jinqing's smile deepened a bit. Okay, I've seen it clearly. This woman just wants to eat me. Bai Mu's face is full of helplessness, indicating that the other party should change her clothes quickly. She took off her coat, and the gentle breeze rippled like ripples at the corner of her clothes. Lu Jinqing also swallowed her saliva as she looked at her slender waist, which was faintly visible. This girl not only had a beautiful face and figure, but soon she realized something was wrong. Why are you not wearing underwear? Ah. How did you tell? Bai Mu panicked. Isn't this woman's eyes too sharp? Guess what? Lu Jinqing looked at the other person with a smile on her face that I understood. Come here, put this on first. She handed Bai Mu a small shirt, and Bai Mu obediently put it on. However, when she was about to tie the rope on her chest, she was stopped by the other person. She said she wanted to tie it, but she couldn't do it herself. As a result, the two big rabbits in front of her chest were occasionally touched, causing Bai Mu to wonder what to do. Good guy, this abacus ball is almost hitting me in the face. Subsequently, there was a one-piece lower skirt, and it must be said that the clothing provided by the system was really beautiful. The pink and white gradient hem was adorned with patterns of various sizes, shining brightly in the sunlight like a starry sky. At this point, it has finally become a painting. The other party's gentle behavior gently wrapped the skirt around the upper chest, slowly pulled the rope at the top of the skirt through a small hole, and then fixed it in place, tying a double-ear knot, which was also done by a skilled worker. All right. Lu Jinqing took a step back and nodded in satisfaction as she looked at her carefully decorated doll. The aura of the little fairy in front of me, paired with the classical beauty of Tang Dynasty attire, has increased a bit. If it were placed in ancient times, it would at least be like Daji's existence. To be honest, I really can't blame King Zhou for this. Chapter 5. The Fairy of the World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Mu looked at Lu Jinqing's squinting eyes and scanned herself up and down, which also made her tremble with excitement. What's wrong with this woman thinking? Why do you always look at yourself like this? Single dog. Bai Mu instantly recalls the small videos she used to frequently watch online. What are the top 10 characteristics that girls like about you? 1. If a girl really likes you, she will try her best to get close to you too. If a girl likes you for a long time, she will look at you with squinting eyes. Wow, Bai Mu thought it was a prank created by a marketing account to disgust a single dog like herself, but she didn't expect it to be true. Lu Jinqing frowned as she watched the girl in front of her become increasingly strange. Did she see the idea of taking her home? The two of them had their own ulterior motives, but suddenly the passion emanating from behind the wall startled them both. Baby, here. Here. Can't. As adults, of course, everyone understands what this is doing. Both sides blushed and quickly left the place. Bai Mu ran very fast, intending to shake off the bad woman behind her and quickly complete the task. Her icy eyes looked around and quickly identified a small hill that was not high but could overlook the entire peach blossom forest. She took a deep breath and then walked to a location with a better view, intending to start playing the flute. As soon as I stood up, I attracted many tourists with sharp peppers, and I was also shocked to see the earthly fairy on the hill. Watch the fairy descend to earth soon. This is too beautiful, isn't it? Really the fairy sister who descended to earth. Woo woo woo, Mom, I'm doing well. Everyone was amazed when they saw the peerless appearance of the fairy on stage. Bai Mu's cherry lips were aligned with her pores. This was her first time performing on stage, and the nervousness and unease in her heart made her fair face slightly blush, making it even more tempting under the sunlight. Although she doesn't know how to play, she knows a little trick, which is rhythm. As long as the rhythm is good and sounds like a melody, the slender hands aimed at the pores, and the melody that had been mournful for a long time echoed through the entire mountain stream. The noisy crowd instantly quieted down, listening to the story told by Bai Mu. Songs have a soul, and their value is no less than that of a pacemaker. The hardships of the world are buried in everyone's heart due to human behavior towards the secular world. They dare not speak out, fearing that the ugly faces of the secular world will attack them. Lu Jinqing had already chased after her, and listening to the melody played by the beautiful woman on the hill, she was also mesmerized. She could feel the sorrowful ups and downs in Bai Mu's melody, which was sometimes cheerful and sometimes soothing, as if depicting a tragic experience. She stood at the foot of the hill, staring at Bai Mu with infatuation. What she played seemed to be no longer the melody, it was the confusion and helplessness of Chu Gao, the pain and patience of life's dissatisfaction, as well as the longing and expectation for the future. Chongqing flower. See. Everything that was originally impossible to achieve is possible at this moment. Music shuttles through the forest, bustling with peach blossoms. At this moment, the flowers appear particularly pink and tender, like the vitality of youth. The brilliance of the morning glow sets off the sun of a new day, and under the sunshine, everything has vitality. Suddenly, a strong wind struck, brushing against the girl's soft long hair and dazzling long skirt, as if she was about to break free from the ribbon of the sea of suffering. Free and beautiful, she drifted away with the wind. At this moment, millions of peach blossoms danced against the strong wind and rushed towards Bai Mu, with petals permeating her surroundings. The girl sniffed the fragrance of the peach blossoms and then finished playing the final long note, bowing deeply to the audience below. Without a trace, the audience below were still intoxicated by the stunning artistic conception created by Bai Mu for a long time, without regaining their senses, until the fairy disappeared before thunderous applause erupted. Lu Jinqing was the first one to come back to her senses. She couldn't help but applaud as she watched the holy and elegant fairy walking towards her. She didn't expect the young girl to be so talented. She was beautiful and had a great figure, which was a perfect work of art. The world probably couldn't find a second one. I like you, please date me, Lu Jinqing said to others for the first time at such a young age. When she was young, she always received love letters by herself. This sudden sentence left Bai Mu confused. She had thought about it before. Of course, she liked the girl in front of her. While in the car, she deliberately paid attention to a friend's circle of the other party, Lu group. Bai Mu was not foolish, and of course, she knew the strength of this company. If it's not fraud in front of you, then it's the real Miss Lu from the Lu family. And now that I have become a girl, do I want to warm up other men's beds? Of course not. How can this furry kid be worthy of others? Isn't it still delaying others? I really, really like you. Can you be my girlfriend? Lu Jinqing didn't say anything greasy, but this ordinary confession seemed particularly sincere. Sorry, I don't like you. You're excellent. Besides, what kind of future can we two girls create? Upon hearing Bai Mu's answer, Lu Jinqing felt like a bolt from the blue, and tears welled up in her eyes. Why? But I'm really sorry, he said as he looked at the other person's resolute attitude and ran away. Yes, what can the two of us girls achieve? I was too stubborn myself. Bai Mu looked at the distant figure of the other person with mixed feelings in her heart. She laughed at her own foolishness, hugged her wealthy sister and shouted for food to be hungry. Even with the diversity of the other person's wealth, it was not very difficult for her to be alone. However, she was just such a sobby. Perhaps it was because the confession came too quickly, and the two of them knew each other for less than 3 hours. Perhaps it was her own unique personality, and she did not want to destroy any promising person. Congratulations to the host for completing the task. Reward 10 attribute points and 10 points. The clothing has been retrieved and is now being restored to its original state. Yeah. Why does the host seem unhappy like Yazzie? The host's unhappiness has a significant impact on system upgrades. It's okay, I'm just a little tired. You should go to bed. The young girl's voice and expression were desolate, as if she had just lost her most precious treasure. It's difficult to say goodbye when we meet. Let's meet again by chance on the other side. Lu Jinqing hid in a deserted corner, quietly wiping away her tears. Her first confession in life was actually rejected. She used to reject others, and she couldn't understand why Bai Mu would reject her. I don't look bad either. I want to have good looks, a good figure, and a good family background. Why doesn't the other person like me? She recalled the performance of Bai Mu, as if it were an angel that could not be desecrated. She dispelled the idea of tying her home, perhaps because she had acted too recklessly. Lu Jinqing's bright red eyes and a face that had just cried and turned red appeared very pitiful at the moment. She knew that the twisted melon was not sweet, and after calming down, she still wanted to ask Bai Mu clearly. If she really didn't agree, let's just treat it as a dream. Chapter 6. I love you, I don't care about those questions. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The crowd in the flower sea is long, and many people come out to play in groups. They depend on each other and take photos under the trees, commemorating the beautiful times. Bai Mu wants to find He Qing and the others to meet up. After all, he didn't contact them after getting off the car. He also experienced some small incidents just now, which made Bai Mu's mood for playing completely empty. He just wants to find someone to comfort him. As she walked, she felt more and more confused. She saw a reflection of the crowd and the bright flowers in front of her, which appeared particularly hazy, like a dream but also very real. She held her forehead with one hand, only feeling hot on her head, and then became unconscious. What's wrong with me? Are you about to wake up from your dream? I don't want to. In a daze, she saw the fairy again. The fairy was still as noble and elegant as before. Bai Mu ran forward and was about to vent her anger at turning herself into a girl, but she was still stunned when she saw the other person's appearance. Of course she remembers this face, isn't that who she is now? The other person speaks in their thoughts. What, don't you like what it looks like now? I like you, big-headed ghost. Bai Mu hugged her chest with both hands and pointed at the fairy in front of her, blaming you for making me look like this and causing me. There doesn't seem to be anything bad either. After becoming a girl, life seems to have become much more colorful, and the world used to be gray. Do you want to change back? The other person continued to smile and looked at Bai Mu, with a bright smile as if it could cure all things in the world, but it also revealed mystery in the smile. Bai Mu was about to say something, but when the words reached her mouth, she felt blocked. The experience of a new life has always been what everyone yearns for. Who doesn't yearn for a sea of flowers, a more wonderful and flawless life? No need, Bai Mu answers the woman who looks just like him. After a long time the girl smiled lightly and then disappeared into this space, with a look of relief and joy in her face, as if she would never come back again. When I opened my eyes again, the sky was no longer azure, but was replaced by a pure white ceiling. Are you awake? Nurse, she's awake. Bai Mu listened to the familiar voice and turned her head to look. What caught her eye was Lu Jinqing's perfect and flawless face. How could it be her? What's wrong with me? Why am I lying in the hospital bed? Be quiet, the patient needs to rest now. The nurse scolded Lu Jinqing and gave her a look. Lu Jinqing obediently quieted down and looked at the girl on the hospital bed, who was a gentle kitten. Seeing Lu Jinqing's heart itch, but her expression dimmed when she wanted to go to Bai Mu to refuse her. Bai Mu is unconscious due to hypoglycemia, so please pay attention to your diet, said the nurse and walked out the door. Hypoglycemia. How could it be that the food I eat every day has a high sugar content, and how could I have low blood sugar? Bai Mu was very puzzled, and after much thought, she determined a factor. What the system did, the system speaks. Did you do it? Oh my host, I didn't expect to be discovered by you. Do you think this system is also looking for your happiness? The system has a great responsibility for the host's unhappiness, so our clever system chose to knock down the host on the way that Lu Jinqing passed by, and was discovered by the other party and sent to the hospital. Bai Mu looked at Lu Jinqing next to her and instantly blushed. It's not the system. What are you talking about? I don't like her. The system has once again chosen to install a dead person. Lu Jinqing looked at the doll in the bed and blushed with joy at a glance, indicating that the other party was not disgusted with her. She also had the possibility. She tried her best to restrain herself from laughing and focused all her energy on peeling apples in her hands. The two of them didn't know how to speak, and the scene fell into a stalemate. The dim yellow sunlight slowly climbed on the wall, appearing inexplicably sad. Lu Jinqing peeled the apple and handed it to Bai Mu as a signal to eat. Bai Mu didn't show any affectation and took a big bite to chew on it, trying to hide her helplessness and regret. The other party smiled as they watched the little hamster eating in front of them, stuffing its cheeks full. She didn't want to destroy the hard-won piece, but if not, it seemed like the last time the two had met. I like you, is the same sentence. Although Bai Mu had guessed that the other person would still ask her this question, she was still choked when she heard her confession again. Lu Jinqing was startled and quickly helped Bai Mu up against the head of the bed, patting her back. Bai Mu looked at the other person's firm eyes, as if expressing that if you don't agree, I'll jump off here. Alas, it's really troublesome. Why does the world always have ups and downs? She stared blankly at the ceiling, sighed slightly, and answered Lu Jinqing, I also like you, but... Just what? Do we two girls have no ending? Lu Jinqing was surprised to hear Bai Mu's answer. We don't need to care about their looks. As long as we are happy, there are more disgusting people in the world. Bai Mu shook her head slightly and said, no, it's not. What is that? Lu Jinqing's tears were about to fall. I finally had a heart attack. Should I lose so thoroughly? You are the flower of the mountains, and I am just a weed at the foot of the mountain. Even if it withers and withers, no one will care. If I were your companion, it would delay your life. Bai Mu showed a rare seriousness, and this time she did not choose to escape, but instead looked straight into the other person's eyes. It's okay, I don't care. Upon hearing such an answer, the girl in front of her once again refreshed her three senses. She is such a girl who doesn't indulge in worldly pleasures. She is so pure and charming, kind and emotional, so perfect. Lu Jinqing smiled again and said, you won't delay me. I like you, I love you, and we can progress together. Also, if your family agrees, will you be with me if all the so-called floating clouds dissipate? She held Bai Mu's small hand, which was icy and cold, soft and boneless, with a touch of warmth. The other person's small face had already turned red at some point, like the morning glow of the sunset, pink and bright red, like a blooming flower, delicate and pure. Cherry slowly opened her mouth and said, yes. The word no is very short and only has 6 strokes, but it seems to have brought the whole summer to Lu Jinqing. Excited, she rose up and passionately kissed Bai Mu's small face. Both sides felt the softness between their lips, and the sweet scent filled their mouths, surpassing millions of nectar in the world. Bai Mu had no time to resist and was intoxicated in it, drowning in the sea of flowers. No wonder the old lady selling melons at the market always shouts sweetness over first love. After a long time, Lu Jinqing reluctantly let go of Bai Mu. At this moment, Bai Mu directly transformed into a steam queen, with her ears emitting hot air. My first kiss was handed over like this. This is too hasty, isn't it? Fortunately, it was in the hospital. If it were at home, it would probably be the next step. By now, looking at Bai Mu Lu Jinqing, who was wiping saliva from the corners of her mouth, she also smiled awkwardly. Despite her shy appearance, her heart was already bursting with joy. Of course, there were also the onlookers, the nurse outside the door. She was about to inform Bai Mu that she could handle the procedures for leaving the park, but she didn't expect to see such an explosive scene at the small window on the door. Two beautiful girls posted inside, and it has to be said that wealthy people know how to play. After the two finished, she also opened the door and walked in. However, what she didn't know was that everyone in the room was very ghostly. The nurse happened to click over and saw that she had just kissed Lu Jinqing. Oh, no, it's embarrassing. Chapter 7. What flowers two girls can play with. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The sunset has already hung on the horizon, intending to use one's last breath of strength to render the beauty of the entire sky. After completing the discharge procedures, Bai Mu and Lu Jinqing returned to Jiangqing together. She didn't plan to continue playing, after all, the scenic spots behind were all museums. It was better to go home early and sleep. Besides, there was something very important. Thinking about it, she turned her head to take a look at Lu Jinqing, who was holding her chin with one hand and looking out the window at the passing scenery. The sunset was the most perfect filter, and it was so wonderful no matter who filled it on. Bai Mu is very happy. She is very proud of her bravery in taking this step and has won the most precious treasure in the world. Quickly, the vehicle drove into Jiangqing, and the sunset disappeared from its last glow, leaving only brilliant white clouds. Of course, the setting of the sun also proves the beginning of Jiangqing's nightlife. Neon lights of all sizes flicker on the streets and alleys, and the colorful lights shine brightly at the beginning of the day. The beautiful city appears particularly charming at this moment. Bai Mu and Lu Jinqing got off the car and parked it in a luxurious shopping mall. It didn't seem like a place that poor people like Bai Mu could afford. Why are you here? She looked at Lu Jinqing puzzled. Of course it's for buying clothes for my little baby. The other party smiled playfully, then took Bai Mu's hand and walked in. Who are you, baby? Looking at the other person's shy appearance, Lu Jinqing wished she could bully the little beauty in front of her now, shouting loudly at the kind of yummy butterfly. The two of them walked into the mall with each other, thinking that Bai Mu, a greedy ghost, would suddenly become an advanced supermarket. She couldn't wait to push the small cart towards the entrance of the supermarket, but was stopped by Lu Jinqing. Oh, don't worry too much. Let's go see the clothes first before buying snacks. Bai Mu has never been interested in beautiful clothes or anything else. The pure and intense soul of the fierce man subconsciously tells herself that whether the clothes look good or not is not important, but what's important is whether they can be worn. When I was a child, being dragged by my mother to the mall to buy clothes was a sign of impatience. The clothes, big and small, kept me going back and forth from the changing room, leaving a big shadow on Bai Mu's young soul. She was reluctantly pulled by Lu Jinqing to pick out clothes in small shops of all sizes. As soon as the girl heard about buying clothes, she seemed to have endless energy and quickly locked in another store and walked in. Hello, welcome. Bai Mu, who had already started to feel drowsy, immediately became mentally alert when she saw the black silk long legs of the shop assistant's little sister. You should know that she is a very serious leg control. When looking at people from outside, as long as the other person is wearing a skirt underneath, her gaze was immediately locked in. Of course, this also has significant drawbacks. When looking at her legs first and then her face, she couldn't move and would scratch Bai Mu's heart a few times. The seasoned shop assistant guessed roughly from the attire of the two young ladies who came in, one dressed plainly, while the other was quite valuable in terms of appearance alone, as it seemed to be the eldest lady of a certain family. Hello miss, may I ask if you are buying clothes for this lady? She smiled at Lu Jinqing and said, that's right, okay, please come with me, two ladies. The salesperson slightly bent down and made a gesture of invitation with one hand. Lu Jinqing took Bai Mu's small hand and followed behind the salesperson quickly. The salesperson pulled out a few pieces from the pile of clothes, which seemed no different from the street vendors outside in Bai Mu. This is our latest summer shirt this year, made entirely of ice silk. Lu Jinqing was very satisfied and turned to look at Bai Mu, asking if she was satisfied. Bai Mu looked at the other person's hopeful little eyes and didn't feel embarrassed to refuse, saying, "It's okay, then buy it, just a few more like this and pack it up and take it away." Upon hearing the young lady's arrogance, the salesperson's eyes began to sparkle, almost like laser eyes, and his speech became quite bold. "Okay, please wait a moment," he said. Lu Jinqing held Bai Mu's hand and didn't let go as soon as she entered the mall. Firstly, the other person's soft and boneless touch was too comfortable. Secondly, perhaps she was afraid of the other person running away. Although she understood that the other person would not leave again, she still couldn't rest assured. After a while, the salesperson walked over with a smile on his face, carrying bags of all sizes. "Hello, did you spend a total of 888 yuan? Would you like to pay by card or mobile phone?" 888 yuan. Why don't you rob? I bought more than 100 pieces on the stall, but it's not as expensive as you. Bai Mu has grown up and can't imagine how luxurious the rich people used to be, just a few shirts. She even bought 888 yuan, which made her feel a little distressed. Mobile phone. Lu Jinqing took out her phone and gestured for it to be handed over to the counter. "All right, miss, please take it." Several more salespeople suddenly appeared at the door, bowing to Bai Mu and her companions. "Welcome to visit again." Bai Mu thought it was over, but she was pulled into another store. "Hello, welcome" is still a familiar line and a familiar black silk long leg, but the clothes I bought in the store this time are different. Sigh. "I don't want to wear this," Bai Mu said as she looked at the pleated skirts hanging all over the wall. She couldn't do it. She had already suffered enough to become a girl, and now she still needs to wear a small skirt to wipe away her last fierce male soul. "Why? You look so beautiful and don't have a good figure. It's a pity to dress up properly." After speaking, Lu Jinqing looked at Xiao Guibo in front of her with a heart-wrenching expression, and her delicate hands slowly brushed a few strands of hair from her cheek behind her ear. Watching Lu Jinqing's heartbroken expression on her face, Bai Mu softened and agreed. "Forget it, okay." Lu Jinqing changed her face and walked into the store, picking up her clothes. This, and this, wrap them all up. "Wait a moment, there's also this." Bai Mu was also bewildered as she saw the clothes pointed at by the other party becoming increasingly outrageous. "Isn't wearing them so revealing and provocative? I thought it was just a simple JK uniform, but I didn't expect people to look down on it at all. Instead, they like clothes that are easily exposed." Bai Mu's pretty face blushed as she slowly approached Lu Jinqing's ear and whispered, "These are all so revealing, I dare not wear them out." Upon hearing the tingling sensation in her ear, Lu Jinqing tilted her lips and smiled, then counterattacked, saying, "Who said you want to wear it for someone else to see? You just need to show it to me. Then I had a great time playing with it." Of course, Lu Jinqing didn't say anything else. "Who lured the enemy and told them that I wanted to deceive you? Isn't that a fatal stroke?" After listening to Lu Jinqing's words, Bai Mu's small face turned even redder and she silently closed her mouth, afraid to speak anymore. After finishing, "It seems like she has been abducted into a small nest by this. What should I do? I feel like I'm about to be eaten." Sobbing quickly, all the clothes were packed up, and as a senior salesperson, she had never seen anything before. She looked up and down at Bai Mu and found that she was surprised that she looked good, even without makeup. So she began to sweetly talk to Lu Jinqing. "Oh, miss, your taste is really good. It's really fortunate that you found such a charming young lady." Hearing others praise her, Bai Mu's wife Lu Jinqing is also very happy. Not long after, the two of them walked out of the store. Lu Jinqing was a very careful person. She still remembered that Bai Mu wanted to go to the supermarket, but looked at the other person's lack of energy and asked, "Do you still want to go to the supermarket?" Perhaps it was due to the car journey back to Jiangqing from Nanxiang, as the original road was congested and the driver took a slightly farther detour, making both of them very tired, especially Bai Mu, who was even dragged to buy clothes. I don't want to go anymore. Let's go home. I'm exhausted. Well, my home is a bit far away. Why don't we stay at your house tonight? Although my body is exhausted to the point of exhaustion, my mind can still think. Oh my goodness, the abacus has broken in my face again. Now that we are in a romantic relationship, it's not easy to refuse. It's normal to take my girlfriend home to sleep. Besides, what can two girls play with? There are no tools to commit the crime. Chapter 8. Was hit. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. It was already 9 o'clock when she got home. Lu Jinqing looked around at the small house where Bai Mu lived, and all the data cables and socks were thrown on the sofa, making it look messy and not like the place where a little girl lived. Are you living alone? Lu Jinqing raised her eyebrows slightly and looked at Bai Mu beside her. Of course, Bai Mu also noticed that the house was quite messy, so she apologetically touched her head and said, let me tidy up a bit. There is delicious food in the refrigerator, and I don't know if it suits your taste. After speaking, she went to tidy up the sofa on her own. Lu Jinqing walked into the bedroom with clothes of all sizes, ready to be stuffed into Bai Mu's wardrobe. To her surprise, the room was unexpectedly clean, with neatly folded bedding placed in the corner and a small laptop placed on the desk. Overall, it looked a bit monotonous. She turned on the light and sniffed the unique fragrance of the girl's room. As for why it's so neat, I have to ask Bai Mu. The night before my study, I suddenly had a sudden impulse to tidy up the messy room and didn't expect it to be useful today. Lu Jinqing opened the wardrobe and found that there were only a few simple T-shirts and hoodies in the large cabinet. Why were they all men's styles? She likes to wear flat corners. She looked in confusion at Bai Mu's direction and couldn't understand what Bai Mu, the little girl, was really trying to put on in her heart. After organizing a simple circle, Bai Mu wiped her sweat and looked much neater than before. She turned around to look for Lu Jinqing's figure and found that he was not in the living room. Feeling a bit uneasy, hurriedly rushing into the room, the other party was searching for her wardrobe. Wait a moment, Bai Mu was very flustered. She hadn't tidied up her clothes before transforming, which would be difficult to explain if she were seen. Lu Jinqing turned her head to look at Bai Mu in a hurry, expressing her incomprehension. Just as she was about to ask why, she was grabbed by her wrist. When your wardrobe was full of men's clothing, she gently and delicately said, let me handle this small matter. You go to the living room to rest first. Looking at the other person's beautiful and loving eyes, Lu Jinqing blushed and slowly hugged her shoulder. Sakura Lips gave Bai Mu a small reward on her lips. Okay, then I'll go take a shower first. After 3 days of studying, I naturally had to bring my laundry to change. Along the way, Bai Mu was suddenly knocked down by the system and the things that were sent to the hospital backpack naturally arrived here. Bai Muchang took a deep breath and only realized it was too late when she looked at the wardrobe that had already been opened. What should she do? How can I explain later? She looked at the clothes being stacked on the bed and continued on, so she decided to break the jar and throw them. Anyway, she no longer has a younger brother and the other person is her future wife. There is no need to cover up the past in a marital relationship. Of course, the fact that one wakes up and turns into a girl may not be believed by the other person when it is said, which is too absurd. After folding her clothes, the door to the bathroom was pushed open in no time. Bai Mu was stunned as she watched the beautiful woman in the bathroom, who was only wearing a towel and exuding a fairy-like aura. After being washed with warm water, the already fair skin becomes even more pink and tender. Cherry lips appear particularly rosy at this moment, making people unable to resist the feeling of wanting to kiss them at a glance, especially those snow-white collarbones, which appear even more tempting at this moment. What's wrong? Are you looking good? Lu Jinqing also smiled as she looked at Bai Mu's evasive and colored eyes. Do you have a hair dryer here? There is something. Although she has seen herself after taking a shower, looking at others is much more satisfying than looking at herself. However, you are really not promising. You are also a beautiful woman, and you start stuttering when you see others. It's so useless. In order to cover up her recent misbehavior, Bai Mu planned to avoid saying, "I'm going to take a shower." After speaking, he quickly rushed into the room and picked up a few pieces of clothing. Before entering the bathroom, the sound of water flowing slowly resounds, and the warm splashes not only make people relax, but also make them sober. Quickly, the steam blurred the mirror, and Bai Mu wiped it with her hand. It was a bit surreal that the day had passed, and the wealthy young lady would even take notice of her, and she was now in the room. This used to be something that Bai Mu couldn't even believe in her dreams, but now it has become a reality. After a simple wash, Lu Jinqing walked out. She was cross-legged watching the latest love TV drama on Shaofa, with her long hair casually draped over her pink pajamas. "I only have one bedroom at home, why don't I sleep on the sofa tonight?" Upon hearing Bai Mu speak, Lu Jinqing also stood up and hugged each other's slender waist with both hands. "No need, I'm your girlfriend now. We should sleep together." The other party's pretty face was facing her at this moment, and Bai Mu shyly replied, "Isn't that okay?" As someone who didn't sleep with a girl once, she acted like a little lamb at this moment. Lu Jinqing also smiled at the other party's awkward appearance, as if she was seducing herself. "What's wrong with it?" She then began to touch Bai Mu, causing her to repeatedly retreat an inch. "Ha ha ha, don't do it, wait a moment, ha ha ha." The more she retreated, the more the other party moved forward. Finally, she was turned into the bedroom and closed the door. The girl's laughter echoed like a silver bell throughout the night city. The next morning, there was a person in bed who made such a change that Bai Mu couldn't sleep well all night. She got up at 6 o'clock in the morning and planned to prepare breakfast for the other person. However, she soon discovered the problem. She didn't have any ingredients at home, even noodles. As someone who only knows how to cook instant noodles, should she let the other person eat instant noodles? Of course not. Getting up, changing clothes, and looking at Lu Jinqing, who was still sleeping on the bed, also blushed with embarrassment, thinking about the strange feeling of being kissed all over her body by the other person last night. How can a handsome man be pressed under the body of a woman? No, I can only know for myself. If it gets out, it's better to kill me. It's too embarrassing. Bai Mu walked out the door and swept a small electric donkey before heading to the old street. The old street was not far from Bai Mu's home, only 1 kilometer away, and he had to pass through it every day to go to school. The girl hummed a cheerful tune and rushed out as soon as the green light came on. As the saying goes, if there is no accident, there will be an accident. A black car rushed out without accelerating when it saw the yellow light, but unfortunately it collided with Bai Mu. Fortunately, the speed was not fast, and Bai Mu suddenly felt a sense of weightlessness as she looked at her straight road. Then, her body seemed to have been knocked down by something and fell to the ground. "No, I'm so unlucky. Did I get hit?" Bai Mu stood up and looked at the green light dancing with numbers, which made her angry. What she disliked the most was this kind of person, and she instantly awakened the soul of Zuan. "Aren't you blind? Can't you see the red light?" Seeing a car accident, the number of onlookers around quickly increased as they looked at the fairy-like little sister cursing in front of them. The sudden break woke up Wei Hao sitting in the back seat, and he was cursed loudly from the front seat. "Do you know how to drive?" "Sorry boss, we bumped into someone." Listening to the driver's panicked tone, Wei Hao also looked up. After a long period of darkness, he suddenly looked directly at the sunlight and couldn't see anything clearly, just like when he had edited the exposure to 100. In a daze, he still saw the other person with long hair and said, "It's just a woman. Just give her 300 yuan to drive away." After speaking, he leaned back on the seat and continued to close his eyes to rest. The driver took out 300 yuan from his pocket, opened the car window, and handed it to Bai Mu to signal him to shut up. As soon as the car window opened, a beautiful and ethereal female voice came into Wei Hao's ears, as if spring sunshine could warm all things in the world. He slowly opened his eyes, wanting to see clearly the appearance of the woman outside the window. Chapter 9. Don't fight again. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Under the dazzling white light, the girl in front of him appeared so sacred and charming. A stunning face deeply penetrated Wei Hao's heart. The woman in front of him was not as flashy as in the nightclub, but rather dressed simply and unaware of the world's fireworks. Shut up, Wei Hao glared fiercely at the driver through the rearview mirror, with a cold and murderous look in his eyes. He then opened the car door and said to Bai Mu with a hint of gentleness, "I'll give you another 5,000 yuan, then hurry up and leave." Then, a stack of bills was accidentally pulled out of the car. Bai Mu was startled as she looked at the 1.85 meter long handsome Gordon walking out of the car. The handsome face of the other person, coupled with his cold and aloof demeanor, immediately caught the attention of a romantic-minded girl. What more money would it cost? Everyone followed the car. The height difference between the two was 20 centimeters, and their aura suddenly changed. Bai Mu knew her own level well, and she could fight for another 300 rounds in a fight. However, if she had to take action, she had no chance of winning. She knew that 30.6 tricks were the best strategy, and besides, she might cry for a long time after being beaten up like this now. It's better to run away as soon as possible. Who wants your stinky money, crazy? After saying this, Bai Mu decided to help his small car and was about to leave. Seeing that the other party had not collected the money, Bai Mu's position in Wei Hao's heart rose significantly at this moment. A passerby couldn't bear to watch anymore and came up to maintain Bai Mu. "You, a big man, hit the little girl first, and your attitude is still so bad. You're still not a man." Bai Mu's face was covered in black lines. She could have left already and had to buy breakfast for her wife at home. When she scolded him, she didn't stand up. Instead, she had to leave now to stand up and defend herself. "I want to see which bastard she is." Bai Mu turned her head and saw a man wearing a t-shirt and shorts walking out, with headphones still hanging around his neck. Judging from his attire, he seemed to have run past this place in the morning. Compared to Wei Hao in the car, this one appeared more sunny. The two were just two extremes, one in the sky and the other in the sky. Upon hearing someone contradict him again, Wei Hao became impatient in an instant. He had already been annoyed by the problems that had arisen in the company. He had just hit someone again, and now someone came to contradict him, thinking that his eyes would become bloodshot. He turned his head and punched the other person. Zhang Yu, who had suffered losses, was instantly ignited with anger. As a good citizen of the new century, losing face in front of girls is absolutely not allowed. The two of them struggled together like this, and the scene was once very chaotic. It was also unknown who hit whose nose, and blood immediately splashed around like a shower. Bai Mu was planning to leave at this moment, but the two of them had a conflict because of themselves and it was not easy to leave. If they started fighting like this, they would definitely come to the police. Now, should I go up and shout, "Don't fight anymore, don't fight for me anymore"? This kind of fighting won't kill anyone. About 2 or 3 minutes later, the police rushed over, and both sides were beaten with bruises and swollen faces, especially Zhang Yu, who was now swollen like a pig's head. At first glance, Wei Hao is someone who has trained his family. Bai Mu was speechless as she watched the two of them turn into helpless kittens standing on the roadside. Obedient and obedient. No, I'll come out and buy something early. I'm really impressed. You two can fight like this and let me go first. If you kill me, it's okay with me. After a while, a police officer approached Bai Mu and asked her to tell the story. For creatures with high appearance, they would leave a good first impression on others. After a brief introduction, they confirmed that they had told others the truth and let Bai Mu go. Bai Mu got on the small electric donkey and put on his helmet before leaving the intersection. He took every step very carefully, afraid of being knocked down again. On the other hand, Lu Jinqing was awakened by an alarm clock. She turned on her phone and turned it off, then touched the bedside. Is it empty? There is still some warmth on the blanket, so it should have been a while since we left. Then he slowly sat up, thinking that there was still a meeting to be held this morning, and thought of bidding farewell to Bai Mu. However, he searched the whole room but couldn't find the other person's figure. Helpless, He left. Bai Mu quickly arrived at the old street, and the air was still filled with various flavors of breakfast. Bai Mu didn't know what Lu Jinqing liked to eat. She was from a wealthy family, and she didn't know if she liked these folk snacks. She only had 400 yuan on her body, and she was only halfway through this month. Can she ask her parents for help? It seems like she can't just say she's looking for a girlfriend and wants to treat her to breakfast, but she quickly dispelled this idea. After all, her parents are not easy either. Isn't it sad for them to have more money? After much thought, she still felt guilty. It was Lu Jinqing who spent the money on clothes last night, which was too embarrassing. When Lu Jinqing was sitting in the car and passing an intersection, she saw a group of people gathered there, as if there had been a car accident. She immediately began to worry about Bai Mu, and after thinking about it, she still sent a message to the other party. Lu Jinqing. Where did you go? After waiting for about 2.5 minutes, the other party still didn't reply to the message, and suddenly became suspicious. This girl shouldn't have had any trouble, right? She had already imagined the black car at the intersection just now hitting Bai Mu 2.5 meters high, so she called Bai Mu again. The other party has not answered for a long time, and she can already imagine Bai Mu lying on the hospital bed feeling extremely weak. It's not Lu Jinqing. What are you thinking? How could the other party possibly have an accident? I guess she didn't hear the phone ringing on the bus. Just wait for her to see and answer it. However, at this moment, Bai Mu was carrying a bunch of breakfast home. Unfortunately, the small electric donkey that had just been parked on the roadside was swept away by someone else, and there was no shared bike near the old street. Forget it, it's only been 1 kilometer. You still got a perfect score in junior high school, so it shouldn't be a big problem. As for the phone call from Lu Jinqing, since I got it in Bai Mu's hand, my mouth has been sealed. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I haven't turned it off. Of course, walking alone is also too boring, so the clever Bai Mu called out the system. Come out of the dog system and chat with me. Can you stop calling me a dog? Shit. Tong. Oh. If you continue to call me, I will really ignore you. Listening to the coquettish female voice in my mind, I also smiled. Okay, speaking of the dog system, can you teleport me home? Not allowed. Then you can give me a whole super skill, such as Fatian laser eye and so on. No, this violates 10086 of the system rules. I remember last time I didn't use the task reward. How do I use attribute points? Used by hand. It's not that your attitude can be better. Bai Mu was a bit surprised. I didn't expect a small system to still have a temper. No, who asked you to call them the dog system? Oh, I've never experienced such injustice since I was young. Oh. What? Listening to the sad sound of the system, Bai Mu suddenly froze and said she was crying. No, I didn't do anything, did I? Then he apologetically comforted and said, sorry, I won't call you the dog system anymore. Don't cry, okay. Listening to the choking voice of the young girl, Bai Mu couldn't vent any anger at all. The system didn't respond. It seems like it's really angry. Chapter 10. My youth dies in novels. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Family members, what should we do to comfort a system with a strong sense of self-esteem? Bai Mu was very distressed. She thought about joking with the system and ended up crying for the other party. The girl's mind was hard to understand. Stop crying, okay? I'm sorry, right? Of course, there is no sound coming from the system in my mind. I guess she secretly hid somewhere and wiped away her tears. Bai Mu felt guilty and a bit afraid that the system wouldn't be able to think about it. Of course, what she was most afraid of was that the other party would leave her. Having experienced this little episode refreshed her understanding of the system. I thought it was just a robot that could use a voice changer, but now it seems like it's just a person. No, it should be a high-level life form similar to humans. Bai Mu quickly arrived home, but did not see the figure of Lu Jinqing, and a sense of disappointment surged in her heart. I was hit when I went out to buy breakfast in the morning, and when I came back, my car was swept away. Of course, this small matter did not cause any harm to Bai Mu, and it was even a bit inexplicable. But what really hurts is her previous experience. In junior high school, her studies were not very good and she ranked last in the class. Of course, the teachers' branches were still quite high at that time, and she didn't exclude Bai Mu, which made her a little happy at school, but her family was just average. Her family background is not very good, her father still has some minor health problems, and her mother has cultivated a bad personality for her and her sister. I usually argue without a few words, and many times I don't want to go home. The worst time was when her father was under a lot of pressure and his mother was stirring up trouble next to him, perhaps due to adolescence. Bai Mu was very averse to such things. When she heard her father say he wanted to kill her, she couldn't help it anymore. Rushing into the kitchen, he picked up a kitchen knife and gestured for the other person to poke him in the neck. His father was also angry, so he snatched the knife and chopped it at Bai Mu's head. Fortunately, it was the back of the knife. After a burst of pain, Bai Mu only felt something flowing from her ear. She knew it was blood, but her grandmother didn't say it beside her. After all, the other party is old and has been feeling a lot of frustration in recent years due to their academic pursuits. She was afraid that her grandmother would find out what had happened, so she tried not to cry, but the blood had already stained her shirt red. Grandma was so heartbroken at the time that she cried while holding Bai Mu. Bai Mu couldn't hold her back and kept shouting, "It's okay, it's okay." After many years, Bai Mu tried very hard to restrain herself from thinking about these things, but every time she lost her emotions, these things couldn't stop flowing into Bai Mu's mind. Learning poorly is really a sin, but now that things have improved, I have also been admitted to college and left my parents. Perhaps the word filial piety is engraved in the minds of the Chinese people. Even though it used to be, Bai Mu still thinks about how to change her parents' lives now. Bai Mu sat quietly on the sofa, looking at the towering skyscraper outside the window. After comforting herself, she thought of opening her phone and sending a message to Lu Jinqing. However, when she saw the 11 voice calls from the other party, she was also surprised. Then, her heart warmed up. She didn't expect the other party to still care about her, so she replayed it back. Within 3 seconds of the phone being called, the other person answered, "Hello, Bai Mu." It's me." Lu Jinqing frowned and felt relieved when she heard the sweet and familiar girl's voice coming from her phone. "Where did you go this morning and didn't tell me?" There was a hint of blame in the words, but after all, I still cared. "I bought you breakfast." Bai Mu wanted to say that she had been hit, but she was afraid that the other person would be worried, so she swallowed it back. Oh, next time you don't have to buy me breakfast specifically. We can go to school together to eat. Listening to the other person's slightly playful voice, Bai Mu also smiled. "Okay, where are you now?" "There was a meeting this morning, and I'm currently in the company. I'll tell you in secret that one of the shareholders who had just had a meeting with me heard about hitting someone and getting beaten up in the morning. His face was swollen and he laughed at me like a pig's head. Ha ha ha." Listening to the extremely explosive news, Bai Mu couldn't laugh at all. Couldn't she have hit her own one? Lu Jinqing didn't hear the response on the phone and suddenly felt a bit surprised. Shouldn't girls like this love to laugh? Isn't this foolish news funny? What's wrong, Bai Mu? Ah, it's nothing, ha ha ha. He's really miserable then. Ha ha ha, I also think so. By the way, there will be a banquet tonight, and I wrote your name on the greeting card. I will pick you up at 6 o'clock. Remember to dress yourself up beautifully. Banquet. Bai Mu suddenly remembered the plot from the small movie, not the kind of chatting and suddenly feeling like he was just hee-hee. But soon she slapped herself in the back of her heart, not thinking about anything anymore. Why is it that every day is rustling? Okay, I promise I won't embarrass you. Then hang up first. I still have some business to attend to. Dudu banquet. She had only seen the kind of banquets attended by high-end people in movies, all dressed in suits and shoes, with gorgeous costumes. She never expected to one day attend such gatherings herself. Thinking about it, Bai Mu walked into the bedroom and opened the wardrobe. Inside were either T-shirts or hoodies. Should she wear the small skirt that Lu Jinqing bought for her? Of course not. That's too naughty. I can't withstand my thin skin, sorry. Suddenly, the sound of the system in her mind startled Bai Mu. Sorry, what? No, I didn't follow the 11:45 rules of the system and should be polite to any host's questions, but I was scolded by my boss just now for not following them. I apologize to you. Listening to the system's answer, Bai Mu frowned and said, what? It's better to resign than to work as a system that takes so much trouble. Oh, it's not your fault originally, it's my problem. I'm sorry. Stupid Bai Mu is a playboy online with a super sweet mouth. When it comes to reality, he becomes a little coward and can't even speak, really. Do you accept my apology? What Bai Mu doesn't know is that if she doesn't accept the system, she will resign and pick up trash in the universe to eat. Of course I accept it. You are my precious system, how can I not accept it? Disgusting. Listening to words with a hint of coquettishness, Bai Mu also felt relieved. She could already imagine the cute and shy appearance of the system's small face. Bai Mu took a nap, and when she opened her eyes again, it was already 5 p.m. Fortunately, it was mid-spring, and if it were early spring or late autumn, it would be difficult not to have an emo in the dark. We're leaving in an hour, so we need to dress up and dress ourselves up. She walked to the wardrobe and put on a hoodie that she thought would look good. Don't ask, only the hoodie is there because Bai Mu sleeps in bed every day, clicks on it, and searches through a pile of clothes for something to wear. This process is time-consuming, so the clever Bai Mu stuffed all the clothes from this season back home. She straightened herself in front of the mirror and was very fond of pure lust, so she tied herself a high ponytail, instantly enhancing her temperament. The delicate features of the young girl in the mirror are simply the masterpieces of nature, delicate and beautiful, coupled with a high ponytail, showcasing her youth to the fullest at this moment. In fact, girls don't need to wear heavy makeup, as long as they wear clean clothes and tie a high ponytail, they can charm many boys.